Well, there we are. It's just after 10 o'clock. It is that time for the Sunday Sermon. And this week I want to focus on the flip-flop. Yes, I want you to close your eyes and just imagine for a moment, and this will be hard, this really will be very difficult. Imagine that Boris Johnson is the Archbishop of Truth. Yes, I did say it would be hard. So if he's the Archbishop of Truth, what does that make the current Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak? I mean, is he the God of Truth, or is he a Bishop of Truth? I'm going to show and prove to you that he's neither. He's not even a Dean of Truth, not even a Deacon of Truth. In fact, even a simple Vicar of Truth is not our Rishi Sunak. Absolutely nowhere near. Because the reality is that Rishi Sunak tells more untruths than Boris Johnson on a bad day, despite the fact that Rishi Sunak resigned from Boris's cabinet because he was concerned about the inability of the former Prime Minister to tell as it is. And let's just look at the issues. And I'll be going through a list of Sunak's untruths, his abandoned campaign pledges. The thing is, Boris Johnson, he told untruths about issues like Partygate and Pinchergate, whereas the untruths that the current Prime Minister is telling us are far, far more serious. They regard matters of our economy, of our security, and of our energy reliability. Those are the untruths that this Prime Minister. So let's just look at some of the pledges during his leadership campaign, full of promises, ambitions and hope. He said that he would support shale gas extraction by fracking, subject to local consent. And the very first thing he did when he became Prime Minister was he bottled it. And he said, no, forget that. I didn't actually mean it. I'm going to stick to the 2019 Tory manifesto. So he's happy to stick to that manifesto pledge. But when it comes to the immigration manifesto pledge in 2019 of reducing numbers from the then level of 220,000 net, it seems that Sunak's quite happy to ditch that manifesto pledge. So that was the second thing. The third thing is EU regulations. He said, and I think we've got this video. I'm just waiting for yes, we've got a little video here. Let's just watch this video during Sunak's leadership campaign. Is a video of EU regulations being piled up by a shredding machine. The inference is that it's Rishi Sunak who's going to shred a load of EU regulations. That's the video being made out of you watching on TV. And that was the video that he had during his leadership campaign. And he's starting to put thousands of pages into the shredder, and it all looks very good. Thousands of laws being shredded. Encouraging stuff. There it is. It says, keep Brexit safe. Lots of shredded paper. Then it says, vote Rishi Sunak to keep Brexit safe. Well, we all know, don't we? Because I talked about it last week. He abandoned that pledge about shredding thousands of regulations. No, he might get to a few hundred at best. Complete lack of ambition. Another pledge in his campaign, another promise abandoned. Another complete untruth. The fourth thing is regarding China. During his campaign, he said that China was the largest threat to Britain and the world's security and prosperity. But then he reneged on that language. Even last week, you had the Foreign Secretary, James Cleverly, saying that that wasn't the appropriate language to use and that we had to get along in a form of sort of robust pragmatism. But breaking news, folks, 6 months after being appointed Prime Minister, today, under pressure from the US and other Western nations in this great summit in Japan, today Rishi Sunak has finally said it. As I say, under extreme pressure, he's finally said that actually China is a threat to the world's security. But the fifth pledge, on a related theme, he pledged to ban all of the Chinese Confucius institutes that essentially are a mechanism for the Chinese communist regime to spy on people here in the UK. There are 30 of them across the UK, the highest number in the world, and Sunak said he would get rid of them. But now he's abandoned that pledge. They're all still there. There's no sign of it whatsoever. That was the fifth pledge that he abandoned. The sixth pledge, he said that he would ensure that there was a commitment, an obligation on British universities to disclose what foreign funding partnerships they were receiving if it was more than £50,000 a year. They've just signed the higher education bill, they've turned it into law, and there's no sign of that whatsoever. All it says is they have to monitor it. So that's another pledge abandoned. Let's go to energy, shall we? Wind. Plenty of wind in this government, that's for sure. Yeah, plenty of wind, and it's not the sort of normal wind. He said that he was going to maintain the ban on onshore wind farms. He wouldn't allow any more of them onshore. But under a bit of pressure when Prime Minister, he's abandoned that, and now he's allowing them. That was his seventh untruth, abandonment of a pledge. Number 8, he said he would be happy to expand grammar schools. But since he's been Prime Minister, complete silence. Nothing. Zero. Zip. We've got to 8, we've got to 9. I haven't finished, folks. It's quite a long list. Here we are. We're at 9, smart motorways. He said they were unsafe. He said he would get rid of them. But all he's done now is to stop new ones. He's not going to stop the existing ones being built that I think most people recognise are patently unsafe. So that is the 9th pledge. As I continue my list, just think about something, anything that you can think of, maybe that I've missed out on one of Sunak's list of pledges. One of them, of course, and this is really important, was that there was a manifesto pledge in the 2019 manifesto document, that contract with the people to build 300,000 new homes every single year. So Sunak, again, being rather selective which parts of the manifesto he sticks to and which he abandons. No, he's abandoned that one. No interest in it at all, under a bit of pressure from a few of his Tory MPs. He's just said he wants to build more homes. So we've got immigration going through the roof that I'll be talking about, but house building going through the floor. So that's the 10th manifesto pledge that, or untruth, that's been dropped, that's been reversed, that's been abandoned. Number 11, the Windsor framework regarding changes, supposed changes, to the arrangements, the protocol arrangements with Northern Ireland and the EU. Sunak, with great PR spin and aplomb, said that it was the deal of the century and that he'd secured concessions from the EU on the Northern Ireland Protocol. And that he'd secured this great thing, this thing called the Stormont Break, that would stop new regulations that Stormont didn't want from the EU being imposed. But when you actually studied the detail, it turned out that he wasn't telling the truth. When you read the EU's document explaining what had been agreed, it turned out that it was all just spin and bluster. It wasn't true. It was a fib. The Stormont Break is attached to nothing. It's completely unusable, rusty from the moment it was created. And no oil or any form of easing would get rid of that rust on that break. He also pledged number 12. I've got to 12. The 12th thing, he pledged that he would cut VAT on domestic fuel for a year. Any sign of that? Silence. Nothing at all. I'm still counting. I haven't finished yet. I've got to 13. He promised that there would be major reform to business tax in 2023. We're nearly halfway through. 5.5 months in. Sorry, 4.5 months in. Heading towards the 6th month. No sign whatsoever. Zero. Niente. Nul point. I mean, what is it about this man? We want a Prime Minister that when he says he's going to do something, you know actually you've got confidence that it's going to be done. So that's my list of 13 things. But I'm bound to have forgotten something. You'll have a view. What else has he pledged to do but then not done? That he's done a U-turn on, that he's flip-flopped on. That's the whole point. Flip-flop. So I've asked you to imagine Boris Johnson as the Archbishop of Truth, and I know that was really hard. Now imagine a pack of cards. And at the top, of course, you've got the ace. And I would say to you that Rishi Sunak, he's the ace of fibs. He's the king of the U-turns. He's the queen of half-truths. And he is the prince of spin and waffle. That is the pack of cards headed up by the Prime Minister. And of course, he made 5 more big pledges at the start of this year. Things that he was going to focus on relentlessly, day and night, 24/7. I'm not going to list out those 5 pledges. What I can confirm is that here we are, in the 5th month of the year, and none of them are anywhere near being achieved. On the big one, the boats, the numbers keep rising. It's over 7,000 so far this year. What will he do at the end of this year, do you think? When he's missed most of those pledges, he might hit the target of halving inflation, but that's frankly nothing to do with him. It's all to do with the price of energy on the international markets. Nothing to do with him whatsoever. But everything else, I think he's going to miss. How will he spin and bluster his way out of those failures? Who will he find to blame? So there you have it. Sunak, the ace of fibs, the king of the U-turn, the queen of half-truths, and the prince of spin. What have I missed? What pledges has he made and not yet delivered on? I want your thoughts, your views. Because he is the master of the flip-flop. And with that, here endeth my Sunday sermon.